Everyone. Hello, everyone. Let's continue with Master YongHua's teachings here. We are on slide
148.
140,
Slide 148.
148. Did we listen to this? No? Okay, let's get going.
We read until 161.
Okay, okay. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, so he says here, just to recapitulate, he's talking about the concept of being a worthy, unworthy. A worthy person, he got to help us define what a worthy person is. I think this is worth looking into. Well, that's a rather new concept here for the West. Okay, so what's a worthy person? A worthy person is not selfish, has no desires for themselves. A worthy person thinks of benefiting others. A worthy person is public-minded. Okay, and so he says we should look at ourselves carefully this way. Are we a worthy person or not? Okay, so cultivation is about looking at yourself. You yourself should know. You yourself should measure against the standards of people, wisdom, the sages who reminded us of what they are. And they remind us by being that way. They live like that. Okay? So it's about looking at yourself. It's not about getting a diploma, getting a certificate, getting a trophy or something. It's very private. Look at yourself. And if we can be selfless, then we are sages and worthies. Okay, let me explain to you. Selfless here is very precise. Selfless means we put an end to the ego. When you are in a state where you are free from your ego, then you are a sage, according to the Buddhists, meaning that even if you are a lay person and you put an end to the ego, then we all look upon you as a sage. Okay, put an end to the ego means that you are at least 4th-stage arhat. Okay, there's no exceptions here. You have to be at least a 4th-stage arhat in order for us professionals to look at you as a sage. It's a very clear delineation. Okay, and what are worthies? They say that they're selfless. So by this definition here, worthies he's referring actually to not simply a worthy concept of the Asian culture, but actually this is a Buddhist label. We call you Xian, we call you worthy because you are higher than a 4th-stage arhat. You between a 4th-stage arhat and the first ground bodhisattva. Between a 4th-stage arhat and first ground bodhisattva is a huge distance. It's very, very far away. And that's why we consider these worthies are like the beyond Hinayana level attainments, because Hinayana, they stop at 4th-stage arhat or Pratyeka Buddha, which is about the same neighborhood in terms of level attainment, wisdom and power, samadhi power and so forth. But the worthies actually are in that land in between the sound hearers and Mahayana enlightenment. It's very, very far away. Okay? There's no two ways about it. And as we study the Avatamsaka Sutra, it will become clear. We'll be learning about what are those worthies, the stages of worthies, what do they do exactly. So Avatamsaka is the one sutra that hopefully we'll go into. These chapters will help describe to you the practices that the worthies involve in. Interested? See, so what he's talking about here casually in 1971 is actually very precise Buddhist hierarchy. So far, so good. And so the worthies and the sages also therefore have no selves. They put an end to the ego. Is that clear? It's no but and if there. Either you're worthy or not. That's all. And again, the Hinayana, the sound hearers, they stop at this low level, so they don't understand how to practice this range here between them and the enlightened levels of the bodhisattvas, because they don't have such technology, such knowledge. They think they're done, but actually they're very far from it. Any questions? 150. So he further says, sages and worthies are different from ordinary people by just one thought. And you change one thought, then you become a sage and worthy. And that thought, what thought is that? The thoughts, and a thought that contradicts, that fails to understand the principles. All right? So that's a separation. And this is also true. Meaning that ordinary people cannot help themselves. They cannot produce such thoughts that the sages and worthies are capable of producing at will. Ordinary people cannot. So you see, next slide. So for you to aspire to be a sage and worthy is really, really, really up to you. Okay? So the difference in a worthy, ordinary person, or Buddha is all up to you. You just have to have the proper thought. Okay, and he says that since the difference is just a thought, is that difference is that simple between an ordinary person, a worthy sage, and a Buddha. Similarly, if you have the wrong kinds of thoughts, okay, you will fall into the animal hungry ghosts and the hells as well. It's just that easy. And he says, if actually falling into the evil destinies is that easy, 不过的 means what in Chinese? It's definitely that easy. Yes, too.
I think that means nothing is easier than this.
This is why I differ from him a little bit. The context here is it's just one thought that separates you from a Buddha, a Bodhisattva, a sage, and a Bodhisattva, a worthy one, a sage, ordinary person, or the people, the beings who fall into the three evil destinies. Same thing. It's just one thought. It's not easy or easier at all. It's just one thought. You produce such thoughts, you fall into those realms. You go into those realms. So it's not easy nor hard. However, what he's referring to, I believe, is that the owl, for us, we have a tendency to produce the kinds of thoughts that will bring us to the lower realms. Because the frequency of these thoughts are much higher. They're simply not easy thoughts, it's just thoughts. They're not easy thoughts. Thoughts meaning whatever pops up in your mind, your mind, your mind, your mind. Okay? That's what happens. When you have those thoughts that pop up in your mind here, that's where you're going. Meaning what? Meaning at the end of your life. The very last thought before you die, that's where you're going. So it doesn't matter. You could be president right now, it could be a big shot, could be a king, could be a queen consort or so. But if at the moment of death, if your last thought is the wrong kind of thought, you fall to the lower realms. So in particular, for example, the people who are sick, who are in such great pain, and so they're dying, and at the moment of thought, the last thought before death right there, they're so angry. They say, why is it no one cares for me? Huh? I've been so good to my family. I'm leaving them my fortune. No one cares. Huh? Everyone is only looking to get my money, their inheritance. Okay? Why has I been a good Buddhist my entire life? And where is Buddha? Where are the Bodhisattvas? I donated so much money to the Triple Jewel. Where are they? I'm suffering so much. That thought of anger right there will make them fall to the hells. That's how scary it is. So, can you control yourself if you are an ordinary person? You can't. We're helpless. The pain is too much for you. You complain right now about the pain that you have to endure at this chanchi. And it's nothing yet compared to the pain that you might experience when you are very sick at the end of your life, day after day, lying in bed, or having the nurse coming in and give you an injection for the pain, give you morphine for the pain, and it works until up to a certain point, then it stops working. No longer works. What are you going to do? Okay, so just for the record, there's 154 here. I disagree with it. It's not easiest. I think he means it's not any easier. No, it's okay. So don't change it. It's the great master's teaching. I think this is what he means. I'm sure this is what he means because I don't understand. I assure you that he understands it much better than I do. Okay, it's just the way he explained it to the people at that moment. I think he's didn't express himself clearly here. But the one thought right there is so easy for you to produce such thoughts in order for you to fall, especially at the end of your life where you know you're so scared. You don't know what's going to happen to you. You cling on to life. And you look at you've been watching all your relatives and kids hovering around you for years, waiting for a piece of the inheritance. It's not easy being old. Right? 160, did you say, huh?
161.
161. If you don't obey the rules, you are 接近了. You're getting close to evil destinies. If you don't obey the rules, you are going towards the evil destinies. Okay? Meaning what? The rules here, 规矩 here. 规矩 here is the words that we use in Buddhism, where it has rules and regulations, meaning that at the temples, the people who cultivate at way places, they have to follow certain sets of rules. And if you violate those rules, you will most likely fall into the evil destinies. For example, the way places quite often have fruit trees. And so lay people would come to the temple and grab a ripe fruit and eat it. Okay? That's called stealing from a triple jewel. That's a very severe offense. You steal from a triple jewel, you will fall into the three evil destinies. That's how dangerous it is. That's what happens. You go to the temples in Vietnam, in Korea, in China, and you walk down. They have so much land there. They walk down the walkway, and you see a flower. You pick it up. You see some fruits. You pick it. You eat it. Pick a flower and get, hey, dear, here's a flower for you. You're stealing from a triple jewel. So what are we to do? We didn't know. You didn't know. For the Vietnamese, around this time of the year, the night before the Lunar New Year, Lunar New Year's Eve, they have the tradition of going to the temples and grab fruits from trees as blessings for the new year. Okay, and that's so they go and they climb up on these orange trees or kumquat trees and then break the branches. Not only are they stealing, they're also destroying the triple jewel property. That's a rather bad idea. I did that too. So you know where I'm going after I die. I know where I'm going after I die. Most likely going downstairs. Yes, JC.
Hello. 난리 났어. Hello. So, Master, in the previous slide, a few of us have some questions about the slide about this Ilium Shim.
The what?
一念心
Okay. 153.
Yes, that one. In the Chinese Ilium Shim is within a single thought. So when there are other texts that says single-minded is ilshim, right? So what is the significance of the nian in this word? Like, is it significant in any meaning?
Yeah, that's what he says. When your mind strikes up a thought, that's 一念心 is when the thought arises in your mind. Whereas single-minded is 专心 or 一心. That's different. Does it help? Yinian sin here refers to the thought that arises in your mind. That's why I was referring to, I explained to you, we elaborated further for you, when at near your time of death and you're sick, you're in pain, and you get afflicted, those thoughts of afflictions keep on popping up in your mind. That's why these people tend to fall. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how good they are. The entire lives, they could be very good, but they don't have enough samadhi power to suppress such bad thoughts. Then will fall. All right. Okay, so 155, you don't obey rules, you're getting close to the three evil destinies. The rules and regulations at the temples. So if you go to the temples, you want to obey the rules. So if you don't obey the rules, we have no choice, but we have to advise you not to come anymore, because you are basically, we don't do anything about it. We basically are indulging you and sending you on your way to the three evil destinies. Yes, 9.
Master, does this also apply to precepts?
Yes, rules and regulation. Rules are also morality rules, but also things like the temples, they have their own rules. Okay. And regulations, regulations are a little bit harsher, stricter. Okay, so you want to pay attention. But the point here is, sometimes we can't help it, but we don't obey rules. Okay, what's going to happen? You fall into the three evil destinies. You like it or not. Way Mountain.
Master, I have a question in regards to picking flower at the temple. So we have great compassion, repentance, and usually we pick the flower to make offering to the Buddha. Is that also creating offenses as well?
You're picking on behalf of the temple. So the abbot falls to the house. You don't have to fall to the house. you're picking flowers on behalf of the abbot. So who's the abbot of your temple?
Master Xin Chu and Master Xin Xing.
Okay, then you have to go into the house. No two ways about it. Any other questions? I'm telling you this. Master Shua said this, but he didn't quite elaborate for you. It's too bad. But I'm dwelling on this for two reasons. Number one is to warn you, lay people, to be careful, and left home people to be careful. Even left home people, they come to the various way places, they need to obey rules. They're not above the rules. Okay? Left home people come here, if they don't obey the rules, they will fall to the three evil destinies. Yes, you can sneak around, you can do things, but you think you can get away with it. But it doesn't matter, you violate the rules, you intentionally disobey the rules. You're causing yourself problems. We don't need to regulate you, we don't need to watch you. Yes, 3.
자기 집에 있는 꽃을 꺾는 것도 죄가 되나요?
My own house, is that also causing offense?
By disobeying the rules?
Yes.
Sarah, can you repeat the whole question again?
Master, cutting the flower from my own garden, is that also committing offense?
No.
Against
This is at the temples, at the way places, and they are basically properties of the triple jewel, of the Sang, the permanently dwelling Sangha in the 10 directions, and therefore meaning that all the Sanghas throughout the Dharma realms can come here and stay here. Basically, have the right to come here and stay. And so there are certain rules. When they come to such places, they have to obey the rules, follow the rules. But it doesn't apply to lay people's places. It's only for way places. So number one, we should be aware of it. We go to each temple, we need to be careful not to violate the rules. Okay? But it's whether you Sanghas or lay people, it's the same thing. We all must obey rules. However, what are about some cases where we didn't know or we make a mistake? What's going to happen to us? We still fall to the hells, whether you didn't know or not, you make a mistake or not. Okay? So, this is point number 2, meaning that we, the abbots or the people in charge, should know that. We don't want to get you in trouble because you open a way place. People's going here. Kids will make noises and maybe do something to damage the properties of the triple jewel. Their kids are kids. What are you going to do? You cannot put them on a leash like a dog. Okay? So you know it's going to happen. And therefore, it is your responsibility to help them to protect the visitors from that. If there are some visitors who, after you tell them, please don't violate this rule, and they said, okay, as soon as you have your back turned, they do whatever they wish, those people, they're asking for it. We don't have to do anything. However, there are a lot of cases where you're not aware, and your kids, they don't know better. What are you going to do? If you restrain them, they will not like it. They will grow up hating the triple jewel as a stuffy place where they cannot be themselves. The difference between our temple and And your house is that the kids that come here, they can be themselves. We're not going to suppress them. They do as they please. They can be themselves. They can let go of their emotions, even at the risk of violating rules. Okay? So that's bound to happen. So these way places, the people in charge need to be able to offset their offenses. If not, then the fact we're opening our way places will be harmful to the kids, to those people who will eventually, for all of you, will eventually violate rules. Okay, so this is responsibility for the Sanghas, for the people in charge, to do that. So that's why, that's point number 2. Don't be in such a hurry to go out and open a way place on your own. Because to have a way place means, carries with it responsibilities. Yes, Wei Mountain.
Thank you, Master. Going back to picking the flower for ceremony for the temple, how do we do it that wouldn't send our abbot to hell?
How would you do it?
Yeah, can we do it? Is there a way to do it safely?
Well, I was joking, of course. Our abbots will not go to the hells. And that's point number 2. We need to be able to offset you when you create offenses, you violate rules and regulations. We must be able to help you and protect you from falling. Not the responsibility of the Sangha. All right? That's why I insist, I want to stress this. You young Sanghas, you, the people who have the ambition, I want to open a big temple, I want to have my own temple so that I can save a lot of people, okay, and do things I feel can be done better. There's a lot more going on behind the scenes than you realize. There's a lot of responsibilities having a way place. One of which is that we need to make sure it's safe and we can protect the visitors to the temple. It's bound to happen. You're going to pick up a flower, quite often unintentionally. Okay? You're gonna scratch a piece of furniture. We tried to move some furniture up here from down south, and they cracked the furniture. Expensive furniture. I'm not sure I should let them go fall to the hells or not, because I'm not happy. Yes, one.
A Di Đà Phật. Cái mà thầy nói đó, con trước khi con vô chùa con cũng thắc mắc dữ lắm. Tại sao mà trồng cây mà trong chùa mà mình hái mình bị tam bảo, xâm phạm tam bảo? Thầy khá dịch.
We pick the tree and somehow we violate the triple jewel.
Thứ hai là con chứng kiến những bên Việt Nam á, những cái ngày lễ, nhất là ngày lễ giao thừa, thì người ta vô hái lộc là ở Sacramento thôi, không đâu xa. Họ hái trọc cái cây lê luôn, cái apple.
Second, I've seen it personally is that in our Vietnamese side, especially in Sacramento, during the Giao Thừa is the last day of the old years, beginning of the new year. Vietnamese people usually go to the temple and pick up the tree. They call it lọc, prosperity, and then they pick the whole entire apple tree. No, the pear tree.
Cũng như vậy rồi con ở cái chùa ở Việt Nam cũng vậy, trồng ớt họ vô hái hết luôn, hái trái lớn đến nhỏ hái hết, lại nói là hái lộc.
Also in Vietnam, I went to the temple. There was a chili tree, and lay people usually go to the temple and pick the entire tree, and they call it is prosperity and the blessing.
Và cái thắc mắc khác là những cái chùa mình thấy bên Trung Quốc mà trong sách nói đó, mấy thầy trồng trà, rồi cả chùa ra từ ông tổ cho đến tất cả đều ra hái trà. Thì con cứ thắc mắc một bên như vậy, bên tội bên phước, mà như vậy thì không có làm sao.
And also I have a question is in Chinese temple, even the master, the abbot, and sanghas who went out and picked on the tea leaves. And I don't know if which is the blessing and which one is creating offenses.
Thì đến khi con vô cái chùa Lư Sơn Tự á, thì con là người chịu trách nhiệm về landscape, cây cối hết ở cái chùa Lư Sơn Tự.
So then up to the point, until I went to Lu Mountain Temple, my responsibility is taking care of the landscape and the tree around the temple.
Thì có lúc con phải cắt 2 cái cây rất là to bên trái cái chùa, thì ok, không có sao hết. Rồi tới lần thứ 3 là cái cây nữa, nó sát bên cái hông chùa. Mà cái chùa đó thì ở trên cái đồi rất là cao, so với Sangerville Valley đó, chỗ đó cao nhất trong cái neighborhood đó. Mà cái rễ nó theo cái chuyên môn của con đó, là cái rễ nó vô phần nửa của cái library ở phía sau rồi. Thì vậy nếu mà một trận gió lên đó, nó sẽ dập bể cái phía sau chùa, kể cả một phần chánh điện và hệ thống cống rồi dưới ống cầu tiêu rồi sẽ bị hư vì cái rễ ăn quá sâu rồi. Thì con cố vấn với thầy biểu chặt đi. Thì con quyết định cắt.
So then there's a time that I have to cut the 2 very big trees at the side of the temple. First time it was okay. Up until the 3rd tree, so as you know that Low Mountain Temple is on the top of a hill overlooking the San Gabriel Valley, and by my personal experience and my expertise, I know that one of the route is actually go deep down into the go into the exhausting system and the restroom and the sewage. So it's very difficult. If we don't cut it down, it will cause problems. So Master advised us to cut it down.
Thì đây là cái lần đầu tiên con gặp gỡ cái cảnh mà rõ ràng như trong kinh nói. Thì một tuần trước khi cắt đó, nhiều khi con nằm con suy nghĩ phải cắt nhanh nào trước, nhanh nào sau, cho nó đừng có đụng hại lên cái nóc chùa. Và mà thường nó trước khi ngủ 12 giờ đêm con ngủ không được. Đi ra nhiều khi ra ngắm nhìn rồi lấy cắt tán xa mà rải lên và an ủi nó là tôi phải cắt quý vị xuống thôi, tại vì có chỗ này không thể đứng được. Hồi người ta trồng ta thấy nó nhỏ, nó không có thấy nó cái tổn hại. Bây giờ sau mười mấy 20 năm thì nó to thế này, chúng tôi phải cắt cái gì đau thôi. Thì con năn nỉ thì con rải cắt tán xa, rồi mỗi đêm nói chuyện với nó. Rồi cuối cùng thì sau 7 ngày thì mình cắt.
This is the first time I encountered this experience. It's just like the sutra has been saying. So back in the day, I have to think of how to cut the tree so that the branch doesn't fall off and cause damage to the roof of the temple. And so 12 o'clock at night, I in the state of insomnia, so I have to wake up and walk around the tree and use spiritual sand to bless the tree and advise the tree that because of this difficult situation, I have to cut you down. So I actually talk to them, beg them, and use spiritual sand to bless them as well, and asking them to leave the tree.
Thì cái ngày cắt bắt đầu thì con với thầy hiền giới đứng ở trên nóc mà phủi mấy cái lá khô xuống bớt. Đây nó phải chừng một gang lá khô trên thì con với thầy hiền giới mới quét xuống. Thì con không sao, mà thầy hiền giới không sao, mà con thì bị nó xô. Tự nhiên có cái lực xô con xuống thì mình chạy mình ngừng không được, thì nó gần tới cái chỗ cái bìa của cái nóc rồi. Thì tự nhiên con nhanh trí con ngồi xuống thì nó không có nó dứt, nó thắng lại được, thì nó con không có rơi xuống. Rồi một đầu mình thấy ý là bắt đầu nó phản ứng rồi, thì bắt đầu mình để ý.
So after that 7 days, the beginning of the day we started to cut the tree, me and Venerable Shinche worked together. Venerable Shinche is okay up until me when I started to blow the leaf on the roof, and somehow I got stripped and almost fall down, and it's right at the edge of the roof and to the ground. Somehow, luckily, I was able to stay back and did not fall. And I already felt the effect of it a little bit.
Rồi còn một cái thang hình chữ A đó, để ở dưới cách xa lắm, để giữa cái chùa với cái hàng rào, để chữ A lên đó. Thì thầy hiền chỉ lúc đó là không biết là xuất gia chưa, hình như là còn dân sự, ngồi ở trên đỉnh của cái thang chữ E đó chờ tới phiên, chưa có làm gì hết, ngồi đó thôi. Thì tự nhiên thầy hiền chỉ rơi xuống, rơi mà không có rơi thẳng xuống, mà rơi ngang như cái lá rơi vậy. Rơi xéo có chừng 45 độ, không sao hết. Từ trên cái đỉnh chữ thang chữ E là cao cũng khoảng 3 mét á, mà rơi xuống mà không rơi thẳng, rơi xe ngang rồi rớt xuống đất, mà không có bị thương không có gì hết, rất nhẹ nhàng thôi. Cái thằng nhập trưởng nó đi ngang ngoài lộ, nó thấy rõ ràng từ đầu đến cuối khi thầy hiền chỉ rơi á. Nó giỡn cái nói là hộ pháp bảo vệ thầy hiền chỉ.
So we used to have a ladder that's shaped of an A, and is further away. I don't remember at that time Master Z has already left the home life or not. So he was waiting on the rooftop, waiting for his turn to cut the tree, and all of a sudden we saw that he fall down, and somehow he fall very lightly. And Ru Chang, back in the day, was walking from his house toward the temple, seeing the whole entire thing happening. And he reported to me as if the Dharma protector has been protecting Venerable Master Z at that
correct.
moment.
That's correct. The Dharma protectors actually caught him and gracefully landed, showing off. They say, hey, we're watching over you.
Thì bữa đó con cũng thấy luôn, thầy hiền chỉ rơi không có thẳng gốc như trái mít rơi, mà rơi xéo ngang từ xéo mà cũng không sao á. Rồi coi như cắt cẩn thận thì xong hết. Thì cái giờ cuối cùng nó còn một nhánh nhỏ thôi, bằng khoảng 3-4 inch diameter mà nhỏ thôi. Cắt nhánh nó là xong đó. Thì cô My đó, cổ mới vịn cái đầu dây đằng kia, con với ông Hùng mới cắt. Thì cuối cùng thì cái nhánh nó rớt xuống, thì cô My ngồi không có đúng cái thế tấn, nó rớt xuống giữa chân con và ông Hùng. Nếu mà nó rúng một gối một cái là gãy nát cái chân, chứ không có phải mà bị thương nữa. Mà rõ ràng nó rớt giữa hai cái chân đứng ở đất, nó đụng xuống xi măng, nó tiếng rất là mạnh mà không sao hết. Tức là họ cũng dễ dùng trước khi họ chết, họ phải chống lại mình. Nhưng mà vì chúng con làm cái chuyện đó cho Tam Bảo, cho nên tất cả đều em đẹp hết.
So toward the last prank is about only 3 to 4 inches. And back in the day, we told Mi Fan to hold one end of the rope while me and Ah Hong is cutting the last branch, and somehow we know that she's gonna have to holding it tight so that when it falls, it won't get to us. For some reason, she let it loose, so the tree fall right in between our legs, Hong and my legs, and almost to the point that it almost cut my legs because we're not careful enough. So it touched the crown, the cement crown, and it make a big sound, bang. And so at that time, we know that I think that they are trying to hang on to life at the very last moment. But because we doing it for the temple, for the triple jewel, so in the end, everybody is safe.
Và sau khi xong hết thì con mới khám phá ra một cái rất là hay, là mình làm gì Tam Bảo, mình chấp nhận nguy hiểm. Nếu cái chùa đó, cái cây nó ngã, nó sập như chùa như vậy thì con cũng trách nhiệm là phá hoại cái chùa này. Mà để thì một ngày nào đó gió sẽ sập, nó cũng sập. Con chấp nhận nguy hiểm thì làm thôi. Thì cái điều gì xảy ra? Là tới chiều đó xong xuôi rửa tay thì vô cái hũ xá lợi của con mua giùm cái sư cô kia ở đâu với LA á, khoảng là 5-6 ngôi đó là ở Sivali thôi, sinh ra hàng trăm ngôi đủ màu hết trơn. Mà Savali không bao giờ sinh như vậy, chỉ lớn hơn thôi. Cái này sinh ra nó như bột vậy đó, đủ thứ màu hết á. Con vô con thấy nó wow, rõ ràng là cái phản ứng mà cảm ứng mà giúp cho mình thấy vậy đó. Màu xanh, màu vàng, màu đỏ, đủ màu, mà nó còn cái dạng bột chứ nó chưa có lớn hẳn. Mà lần đầu tiên ở Sivali sinh ra cái kiểu đó.
So after we finish everything, I just discovered something is very good, is that what we do, I know that it's very dangerous if I do it for the triple jewel. If I don't do that, that's okay too. However, it's gonna damage the temple. But I accept the risk and the danger. I finish my work, whatever it is. We do it for to protect the temple. So after I finished, I washed my hand. I went to my room. I saw the jar I used to buy for the bhikshunis, and I put Sivali's relics in there, 5 or 6 relics of Venerable Sivali. Usually, relics of Venerable Sivali just enlarge on the size. Somehow, at this time, it multiplied into hundreds of relics of different multicolor. Blue, green, yellow, red. It's only powder-like. However, this is the first time that I know of Sivali has that kind of manifestation.
Và cái bằng chứng thứ hai là cái cây bồ đề ở trước cửa chùa nó ăn vô cái ống xua của cái cô Tiêu thầy biểu cắt. Thì mà thầy mướn người ta cắt hết rồi, mài hết rồi, bây giờ còn rễ lên nữa thì con với ông Hùng phải đào xuống lấy cái rễ lên, lấy cho hết đến không còn cái rễ nào để nó mọc trở lại được.
So this second proof is the Bodhi tree that its roots had somehow got into the exhaust system, the sewage. So Master told us to cut the tree down. However, he already hired a professional to trim down the tree. And me and Ahong just come and dig up the root. Whatever it is, we just trying to dig all the root out.
Chúng con đào như vậy 3 tháng mới xong, lấy hết lên không còn cái gì hết. Thì sau khi xong rồi thì cái rễ cuối cùng sửa soạn vô rửa tay, thì thầy ra thầy coi, thầy vô thầy kêu vô thầy truyền 42 thủ nhãn. Thì rõ ràng là con thấy một cái chấp nhận một sự nguy hiểm đối với Tam Bảo đó, thì mình sẽ được một cái blessing mà cái gì đó. Thì tụi con học được cái thủ nhãn là nhờ cái hy sinh đó mà chấp nhận cực khổ 3 tháng rồi mới xong cái rễ của nó. Mà nó hay là cái rễ cuối cùng kéo lên rồi thì thầy ra thầy nói vô rửa tay thầy truyền thủ nhãn. Thì con mới nhận ra là mình làm nên Tam Bảo mà mình chấp nhận hy sinh đó, thì đừng có sợ thiệt thòi, sẽ được cái cảm ứng gì đó. Con xin hết.
And we have been dig up the root for the entire 3 months, and so toward the last one, so the last root that we dig it up, right at that moment, Master came out and told us to go in. He will transmit us the 42 hands and eyes. So clearly, if you accept whatever you do that is dangerous and taking risks to serve the triple jewel, by your sacrifice, you accept your suffering for the entire 3 months. You will get something back in response, incredible things in response. And it was the great things happen is that at the very last root that we just dig out, Master came out and told us to go in. I'm going to transmit you the 42 hands and eyes. That's it.
Okay, very good. Thank you for your input. Just a comment. When you work for the temple, you'll be protected. The Dharma protectors will keep an eye on you, and you will not get in trouble, you will not get hurt unless you break precepts. So those people got the protection because they're clean. That's how you can tell. And if you work for the way place and you get hurt, and that's a sign that you are breaking precepts. It applies to everyone. So 156. If you do good deeds, then you will go to the 3 evil destinies. Good deeds, meaning that you don't do the 10 evils. You don't commit the 10 evils of the mouth, of lying, of double tongue, of coarse speech and frivolous speech, and so forth. But when you keep on doing those good things and avoid doing bad karmas, then you are building a case for you, building momentum for you to go to the 3 good destinies of human realm, what else? Human realm, Asura, and the God's realm. JC.
네, 안녕하세요. 참회를 하는 노는 방법이 있는지 궁금합니다. 현묘 스님 만불부참 때 그 세션에서 절을 하면서 제가 저지른 작은 잘못에 대해서 참회를 했는데 이제 다시는 똑같은 실수를 하지 않고 싶어서 세션 내내 한 가지에 대해서 이제 참회를 하려고 했는데요. 그런데 시간이 지나면서 처음에 참회하려고 했던 것뿐만 아니라 그동안 저지른 모든 나쁜 업이 이제 떠오르면서 되게 크게 자책하게 되었는데요. 여기까지 할까요? 너무 길어서요. 감사합니다.
Master, I was doing the bowing for 10,000, bowing with the Venerable XM, Sajusinim. At the first time, my mind was set for repenting a little mistake. And I tried to bow and then start to repent and focusing on that little mistake. And as I bow, and it ended up not only for that little mistake, but a lot of offenses that I committed, I start to repent. And she will continue.
네, 그래서 네, 감사합니다. 자성하는 것은 필요하지만 죄책감이 과도하면 안 좋다고 알고 있는데 제 생각에 제가 참회를 잘못한 것 같습니다. 그래서 만불 그 보참을 할 때 구체적인 내용에 대한 참회보다는 그냥 부처님 명호만 떠올리면서 절을 하는 게 나을지 궁금합니다. 네, 감사합니다.
So I start to feel really guilty. So during that, I was just wondering maybe I wasn't I was doing wrong way. Instead of just thinking about Buddha's names and then doing the 10,000 bow, if I focus on offenses that I committed, is that a good way, or should I just don't think about what I committed, all the offenses, just bow and then think about Buddha's name?
Think about Buddha's names. Concentrate on when you bow to that Buddha, that single Buddha right there. When you deal and you recite the text, the repentance text, focus on the repentance text. When you want to repent something with these repentance dharmas, you simply start with that thought, I want to repent of these offenses. You only need to do it once, and that's enough. You don't need to look at those repentances anymore. Just focus on the text itself. Right? Very good. Good question. Anyone else? Yes, two.
Master, we have 2 YouTube questions. First one from Pingdeng Qingjing. Master, Wei Mountain Temple Buddha Hall has sign for no food and drink. So we are in trouble if we have food or coffee at the Buddha Hall?
If the sign says so, that's what the rules.
Thank you. The second one from Cordelia. Master, by doing GCR, does it reduce our karma that we commit against the triple jewel?
Yes, it will.
Thank you. That's all the YouTube questions.
Yeah, because in the text itself, the Great Compassion Repentance text says, I stole from a triple jewel, I did a lot of stuff against the triple jewel, so that's what you're repenting against as well. When you're repenting also on behalf of living beings as well. So yes, short answer is yes. Wei Mountain.
Thank you, Master. About the food and drink, no food and drink in the Buddha Hall, I noticed during Forchi, some of the older people, they carry in a little mugs, like a bottle of water to drink, because they do a lot of chanting. Mm-hmm. And they, some of them asked me, can I drink some water? And I say, well, I say, yeah, unless, it's sealed up and we don't spill. Did they break any precept? Did I break any precept during that time?
They didn't break any precepts, but they broke the rules. Precepts are the rules of morality described by the Buddha. The rules are the rules that's set up by the way places as for whatever the reasons. So they violated the rules. However, in those cases where, as a general practice, when it's okay for adults to have some, bring in this thermos, bringing some water to wet the whistles, that's okay. Yeah. We're not that rigid. The rules there were created because there was some families. We had no problems until there's a particular family who brought the kids in, and they're very messy. And during the food, and not only did they bring the food, they also the drinks. They also brought the food with crumbs. Okay. And so they left a lot of trail crumbs all over, and they attracted the ants. Okay, and we tried to tell them to stop doing that, they would not. So that's why we said, since we tried to tell you, and therefore you keep on ignoring it, we have to make a rule that will apply for everyone, so that it doesn't appear like we're picking on you. But actually the rule is directed at them, because the rest of you are very responsible. Okay, just common sense. When you bring your kids in, and if your kids rules without rules, you see the kids making a mess, it's okay. But after you're done, clean up after yourself. Just common sense. Okay, but this particular family seems to think that they are above it. So that's why we have to create that rule. But typically, we've been very lax. We really don't care. Okay, it's just that some people are too careless. So that's why the rules are set up. Okay. Wei Mao.
Also, Master, we people who translate, we also drink tea. We bring tea to the to our desk because when we talk, it's dry up and we have to drink a little bit. Is that okay?
Yeah, I'm also violating the rules here set up by the abbot. I'm drinking. What can I do? My throat gets dried up because when you ask me tough questions, I get nervous. Okay, so yes, don't worry. At our temples, we are fairly lax, and we prefer you be yourself, and if you're doing something that's inappropriate, we'll remind you eventually. So we're very, very lax about it. We really. But if you come with a right mindset, and you are respectful, and you try to obey the rules and so forth, that's good enough. We don't worry about it because I assume responsibility. That's what we're supposed to do. We have these way places, we have this environment where people will make mistake, and what most people don't realize is pretty serious, pretty grave consequences. And that's why the Sanghas are supposed to, when they open those way places, I stress, this point number 2, that they must be able to protect the visitors. Otherwise, what they're doing is they're helping convert a lot of Buddhist disciples who will fall to the hells. They'll come back and they'll very vengeful towards the Triple Jewel for sending them there. And that's a problem. Okay? So, you should learn. You should learn more, develop enough skills before you open way places. Okay? Next, 157, and then the master switched topic. He went to another saying. He says, if people wish to understand the Buddhas of all Buddhas of the 3 periods of time, this is from Yavatamsaka Sutra, they should contemplate the nature of Dharma realm. Everything is made from the mind alone. This is a very important phrase here that we recite every single time that we perform the evening ceremony. Okay? And this plants the seeds of Vajra wisdom in you. Every time you recite this, every time you hear about this, you're creating such seeds of wisdom in you. And then the Master explained that if you want to understand how the Buddhas of the past, of the present, and of the future become Buddhas, then you should contemplate the changing nature of the Dharma realm. Everything is made from the mind, from one's mind. One's mind here refers to each and every one of us. Whatever you have in your little mind right there, your private mind, it always privacy. Yeah? You are modifying the 10 Dharma, the universe. You're creating that. You're willing it. So don't think that it doesn't matter what you do. When you have good thoughts, you're creating good things for your world, for the universe. You have bad thoughts. That's why we have storms. That's why we have earthquakes. We have natural disasters because of our collective karmas. Whereas you have a sage living in the area, and this sage, this particular sage here, produces good thoughts. That's why good things happen to the area. You see, very quietly, we are making a difference. When you come to the temple and you practice and you recite sutras, you recite mantras, recite Buddha's name, you meditate, you're producing a lot of good energy, a lot of good thoughts. You are benefiting our area. You're benefiting to the extent of your abilities, of your power, your samadhi power. Does it make sense? That's why your practice makes a difference. Makes more differences than you realize. It's right here. So people of the world think altruism, doing philanthropy is only reserved, is a good thing, usually reserved for the rich and the well-to-do. For us in Buddhism, we benefit by producing good thoughts and stopping evil thoughts, our own evil thoughts. All right? So hopefully, because of that, because of our spiritual practice, we produce more good thoughts than evil thoughts. How's that for the reality of things? Every time you cultivate, every time you do you practice good dharmas, you are making a difference. You're making a contribution, a positive contribution to the area as per your abilities. So if your samadhi level is higher, then the range is bigger, further. Okay? And it doesn't go unnoticed by the Dharma protectors and the gods and the spirits. They see that because they also themselves benefit from it. Why do you think these Dharma protectors protected them when they were practicing at Lu Mountain Temple when they were destroying the temple, destroying trees to protect the temple? Because that's how they show their appreciation. We benefit them, therefore they show appreciation by protecting us. And for real. Actually, it's not just a temple. I fell a few times too, and it's not just my disciples. They also caught me and then like a leaf. These Dharma protectors are show off. They never like like this, and kind of soften your last fall. No, they show off. They like a leaf, and then they straighten you out. They catch you, and then they straighten you out. Must be the same Dharma protectors for the temples. Okay, it's kind of cool. You hang around long enough, you see all these things happening. It's for real. Oh. And so this is a consequence here. You need to understand it. Your positive thoughts or your resistance to produce bad and evil thoughts really makes a difference. A lot more than you think. Yes, 9.
Master, does it make a difference when you take precepts and you produce positive thoughts?
Yes. Then you producing, not only are you getting positive energy for as per your abilities, but you also are creating blessings for yourself as well. Okay? It's double benefits. Okay? Those are insider tips. And people only praise that insider tips at the horse racing tracks, the racing tracks, or on Wall Street, the stock markets. They don't realize our insider tips are in Buddhism are so much more plentiful, so much more powerful. Anyway, and any other questions and comments? Yes, too.
Master, we have one comment and one question. So the comment is from Brady. That is regarding you explaining people bringing water and tea to the Buddha hall. Brady says, it's all about your intent, right?
It's all what?
It's all about your intent, right?
Intent of what?
I don't know.
Yeah, the intent is for you to cultivate. For example, typically in a Chan hall, the way when we practice Chan, the Chinese tradition, where we learn from, they would walk around periodically because they have an attendant. They walk around and they give you tea. Okay. So typically, the practitioners would be sitting facing you, so they walk, and the meditators would stick out their cups or whatever utensils they use for drinking, if they wish to get some tea. Okay, so there's a proof right there that they allow such practices. So that's normal. So the intent is to help your practice, then it's okay. But it's not because you're lazy or you're casual and you really are conceited and say, I'm going to do as I please. You go there and you do that. We may be able to protect you from getting into trouble, meaning that as a general rule, we make sure that you don't get in trouble for violating the rules and regulations, okay, as a general rule. However, what you don't realize is it's not just us alone. There's also Dharma protectors, okay, who may get upset at you as well. And said, this person, yes, the master will protect him and help and prevent him from falling into the 3 evil destinies. But that's his work. But for our work, we need to do liberal enforcement. So they can do whatever they want to do to you. I can't stop them. Okay? And they tend to be reasonable. They're not going to hurt you or harm you or anything. But, they can get a little bit upset. All right. Anything else? Yes, 2.
2 more questions from YouTube. First one is from Chen Chen. I was asked a question before. if everything is made from mind, that means the hell is also made from mind too. So the hell doesn't exist. So that's the question Chen Chen was asked before. And he at the time explained, if your mind is worse enough, the hell just appear in front of you. That's her explanation.
What? When your mind is bad enough?
The hell just appear in front of you. And her question is, Master, could you explain more about everything is made from mind?
Yeah, let's talk about the health, your health there. Okay. Cheng says that the health appear in front of you is not quite correct. What happened is that the health are created in response to accommodate your retribution. There are all sorts of hells. They are created in order to make you undergo your retributions. For example, there are people who often lies. Okay? Because of their frequent lying, when after they die, they eventually will fall into this hells here of the hooks hells, where they are actually, all the residents there are hanging by a hook, who are, their tongue are hooked, put on a hook here, and they hang there, to the hook. So as you can imagine, it can be very, very painful. Okay? So there's such hells. For example, so you see, there are so many different types of hells that correspond to the offenses you create. Okay, so that's why your own mind, when you create, your mind creates those offenses, the mind originates those offenses. What happens is that a hell down there is being prepared and waiting for you. Similarly, if you produce good thoughts, okay, then and this is a story of this Cambodian monk that I had the honor of serving. He was 106 years old. He went to the city of 10,000 Buddhas. I was assigned to assist the novice in charge of taking care of him, because he's very heavy. Okay? And he may be skinny, like the old abbot here, but it's heavier. He's a first stage arhat. It's very, very heavy. When you try to lift him, he weighs more like 200 pounds. Okay, so that's why I was assigned to help him. I helped the assistant, the main novice in charge. I was considered too careless, too disrespectful, so I can only get to assist the real assistant. And so I got to know the first stage arhat. At the time, I was drooling. I said, "My God, this is a sage. Should I abandon the temple and go and become an attendant of the sage? How often are you going to meet a sage?" Okay? And all these disciples of Master YongHua, the senior disciples, are milling around him, coming, making offering, coming. Even after Master YongHua died, this monk came back to pay us a visit, to comfort us, and so forth. And even the Berkeley monk, who's like a senior disciple, would come over and ask him, "Master, what should I do to propagate Buddhism? Fulfill my duties towards Buddhism, towards my master, our master, carry on this tradition." And the monk, this first stage arhat, would say, "Well, you should continue your good work." So he's BSing. Okay. Anyway, he didn't know what he was talking about. Okay. And at the time, I knew it already. His Dharma, because how did I know? Because at the time, I listened, I read already. Before I shaved my head, I read all Master YongHua's teachings in English. That was translated to English. I read them all. I bought all the books. I read them all. So after reading so much Dharma, when this Hinayana monks trying to preach Dharma to that monk disciple of Master YongHua, I said, wow, he doesn't know what he's talking about already. Okay. And I don't know, looking back, I don't know why these people who knew that would go through this charade of trying to pretend to ask for advices and walk away disappointed and so forth. But anyway, so this guy, this monk here, is he reveals his spiritual power. He reveals his spirit. He's heavier than heck. Even with two guys, the lead novice guy, I'm the youngest one, the least senior one, the both of us trying to lift him up. It's so heavy, more like 300 pounds for someone about that size. He's showing off, okay? Anyway, it's back-breaking work. After we lift, I would have backaches, okay? But I said, wow, this is the first stage. He's a sage. I'm going to abandon my temple and follow this sage and be his attendant. It will create so many blessings for myself. I was hesitating. I was planning. I said, what should I do now? What should I do now? Lucky for me, my parents are still alive. So I said, I couldn't leave my parents at the city of 10,000 Buddhas. Let's wait until my parents pass away, then I'll leave. Okay, so wrong timing, bad timing. So that's what saved me. But I found out later that this monk here, he said himself, he said, I'm here. And if you don't come and support me and take care of me, then I don't have to be here anymore. Okay? And he said, do you know that there is a palace up in the heavens right now waiting for me? People are waiting for me to come and serve me. He said that himself. He said, there's a palace in the heavens waiting for me right now. You think I want to be here? No, I don't. I'm much better off upstairs. Okay? So that goes to prove to you that when you produce good thoughts, like this first stage arhat, okay, you are creating a palace for yourself up there with attendants waiting to serve you. That's where he went. He went up to the heavens after he died. Okay, so it works both ways. You generate good thoughts. Good things are created in this universe. Okay? All of us, not just that monk, all of us. Every single good thought you have, good things are being produced. You have created bad thoughts, the hells are being produced for you. And so it's not that it appears in front of you, it's being created in order for you to undergo your retribution. So that's why there are countless types of hells downstairs. Each one designed to torture you, punish you for your evil offenses. And that's why don't mess around. You have to repent, to erase those the bad karmic seeds. All right? That's Buddhist wisdom. It really matters. All right, let's go to 161.
Tonight in the West, it is called Holy Night. Literal translation from Chinese is safe night. This night is safe, so this name is very special. So tonight is safe night, but tomorrow night is not safe night, and last night was not safe night. There is only one safe night for the year, so that this name is very special. For us humans, every night should be safe night. There is no unsafe, so it should not be this night alone. Us Buddhists, as long as we truly believe in Buddhism, every day is safe, so every night is safe night. When you're not safe, if you truly believe in Buddhism, you will be safe due to the responses in the way. Today, I will introduce another eminent monk to you. This eminent monk was from the Jing dynasty.
Okay, so what the master just said a few slides ago, he was referring to Christmas, I guess, Holy Night, Christmas night, Christmas Eve, and he called it Christmas Eve is translated as a safe night, night of safety tranquility and peace. It's not necessarily Ping An here is not only safe, but it also means it's tranquility and peace as well. So he says this is a good tradition in the U.S., and he feels that it should not be just one night, is in a Christmas night, Christmas Eve, that you are able to feel tranquil, feel peaceful. Every day you should feel so as well, okay? And that's because if you believe in Buddhism, you will have such experiences. I don't think he means safe. Ping An here, 都是平安的. I think he means it's not safe. I think we should change. It doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. Ping An here is referring to peace and tranquility. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean safe. My first reaction to safe is that just because you believe in Buddhism, you'll be safe? Nonsense. Okay? So it's a translation issue. But even if you translate it as Ping An as peace and tranquility and peace, just because you believe in Buddhism doesn't mean you will experience peace and tranquility. And Master YongHua says, yes, it will, because of the responses in Buddhism. And to me, I don't think it's correct. It's not good to talk about it. We don't. Again, I feel that the Chinese put too much emphasis on responses. It's a form of greed. We should be practicing Buddhism because it's the right thing to do. You do the right things, talk about everything is made from the mind alone. You do the right things, good things will happen to you. Don't call it response, because that's overselling. It's just the simple law of cause and effect. You do good things, plant good seeds, good things will happen to you. That's all there is to it. So the more you learn about Buddhism, the more you stop doing bad things, the more often you do good things, and good things will happen to you. Few bad things will happen to you as well. That's all. And I feel that it's not going to work here in the U.S. It's not the kind of Buddhism I want to propagate, because by selling to you, you do this, you have good responses. It's too small. Okay? Yes, it's true. You have good responses, and this is attractive to the average people, and that's fine. But it's not accurate. It's not true. It's the Chinese tendency to praise responses, to me, is misleading. I was disappointed. I said, how come I practice all these things, I'm not getting any responses? When other people are boasting about their responses, I got nothing. I only saw suffering. What response do you get from what you've been doing for the last all this time? During this Chanchi here, what responses have you got? When you look about it, you say, I'm doing this I've been here, I've been practicing this Dharma here for 9 days, 12 days, 15 days, and so forth, 6 days, and so forth. I'm not getting any responses. Okay, I'm only seeing suffering. What responses are there? So that's why if you only talk about responses, you will not be able to draw the people who are really sincere. Okay, And I hope that you will stop talking about responses as well. Let the Chinese, let the Vietnamese, let the Asians talk about it. We don't, okay? You're much better than that. You should be doing things, good things, because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do, and because you see the feedback yourself. But don't do it because you want good things to happen to you. If you do that, yes, good things will happen to you, but only smaller good things. You will not be able to see the bigger good things that will happen to you. Because your mind is too small. You're too petty. You don't deserve for great things to happen to you. Am I making sense? You're compromising, you're limiting the benefits of your own good deeds because you say, I'm doing good deed here because I'm going to get a good response. There's no need for that. You do good deeds because you're supposed to do good deeds. That's who you are. That's what you're supposed to do. Do good and expect nothing for yourself. If you do good and you're only expecting good things to happen to you, very small good things will happen to you. Guaranteed. You will get responses. Guaranteed. Because he says so to himself. But those are very small. I'm greedier than that. I want bigger things to happen to you so that your heart grows bigger. Not just bigger things out there. The bigger things happen out there because your heart is big, not because your heart is small. If your heart only thinks of yourself, whatever you do in Buddhism is very small. That's why there's something called Hinayana and Mahayana. Hinayana, small heart. Hina is small. Maha is huge, humongous. That's the difference. The Hinayana people to come to the temple and the monks say, I remember that. I went to Ontario, Buddhist temple, Ontario, and the Arhat monk, the abbot, we paid him a visit and brought him some relics as a token of my respect for him. And my first time I met a senior Thai monk. So I said, well, it's a Fra, so it's got to be a good guy. So I brought him the relics and offering. And so I sat there, and there's this procession of people coming in. And they kneel down and say, I give you an offering. And I give him like $20. I'm told. Okay? $5, $20. And I said, oh my God, I didn't bring my wallet. I don't bring wallets wherever I go, okay? And so I said, what happened? How am I going to offer him money now? I have no money in myself. I was so embarrassed. Okay, but so these people kneel down and offer him the money, and he would take out this like a mop, the brush stick made of twigs, dry twigs. He dip it in some sort of water. It's called blessings water, and he would go tut tut. Okay, and that's the blessings you get from making offerings to him. Yeah, a little bit wet. Yeah, just and they would not wipe their face. I would wipe my face. But these people, they expect it, so they close their eyes and he go and to left. The next person, next, they come in. So I was sitting there talking to him, and in between, as we were talking, the people keep on coming in, and he would bless them. Okay. And then it was my turn. I said, oh, Master, I'm here to make an offering to you. I have some relics here. I'd like to make an offering to you. I know you don't have this kind of relic. Okay? Can I offer it up to you? He said, yeah, okay. And so he said, would you like to receive some blessings? I said, were you there, the Master Old Monk? Were you there? You remember that? I think I brought you as well, right? We used to be at Lu Mountain Temple, and it's a small temple, so I brought everyone with me wherever I went. So we went to a lot of places ourselves, all together. Did you kneel down to receive blessing? I think so. Huh? He was dipping that thing here in the water, and then at you, right? And the nuns and so forth. Okay. And then, so they were lining up and kneeling, and he would go like this, and next person. The people who accompanied me. Now I was the last one. He looked at me. He said, "Nah." So he ignored me. Because I didn't know what to do. I said, if I kneel down, then I'm too greedy. I don't kneel down. I'm not respectful to him. But I was hesitating, so he said, "Okay, we're done." And he walked us out. Okay, so anyway, the Hinayana people, they offer something and they train, make you do this. Now I bestow blessings upon you. You come to my temple, you do morning ceremony. Yes? At the end of the ceremony, the Hinayana monk will say, "Okay, thank you for coming. Okay, here, I'm going to send you some blessings. So here, so they recite some kind of thing and say, I give blessings to you and have a good day." So it's like transactional. Every time you do something, and you're getting a return, some kind of responses, some more blessings for you. Okay? So to me, it's too transactional. And I thought of doing that too, because when I first started, no one came to our temple. So I had to do something to compete, you know? But then I look at the people who came to Lu Mountain Temple, I say, "My God, you guys, you look sloppy, you are irreverent, everything, but you have potential. I'm not gonna sell little things to you." Okay, that's how it started. Because otherwise, that's all you get. Hinayana blessings, petty stuff. We want the good stuff, the enormous stuff. Okay, well, that requires you to not be greedy. Do the right thing, that's all. Because all the Buddhas, all the Bodhisattvas keep on telling us, don't worry. So I don't want you, your generation, to tell people, you come to the temple, is a lot of benefit. That's fine too. And that's what a lot of people are interested in. They're looking for, ordinary people are looking for some free deals. It's understandable. Okay? So yes, you can tell them, yes, there's some good responses, some nice things that happen to these people. That's okay. But for us monks and nuns, for you lay people, you can talk to each other like that, to your friends like that, because that's what everyone is looking for. Me too. I was like that too. But I'm referring to the left form people, please stop selling Buddhism and Buddhist things as a transaction, where you do good things and then you get something back in return. Okay? It's too small. It's petty stuff. You're better than that. I look at you as better than that. I see it. And that's why I won't sell you short by giving you small blessings. Okay? All right. Time is up. I think we should stop here. And next time, we'll be starting from 168, a new eminent monk. Thank you, everyone. Good night.